Dang. All right. I don't know if I'd be more comfortable holding my right or left hand. I didn't think so ahead. All right. I just like everybody to take a moment to look around. And I'm wondering if anybody's ever thought of how culturally diverse the world around them is. And usually that's not a thing you think of unless it changes. Like, I'm from Federal Way, and in my classes there's probably only 3 or 4 white kids in any one of my classes at any given time. And since I've been in this experience, I've been surrounded with pretty much nothing but white students, which I didn't really think about, obviously, until my environment changed. So I just want everybody to think about how the lack of it, or how much it is in your life, affects you, and how important culturally diverse classrooms could be for you. Like Malcolm Forbes once said, diversity is the art of thinking independently together. When looking at diversity within the educational system, we must realize that affirmative action is being disregarded. First, I want to talk to you about how the push for affirmative action is it's not being pushed anymore. And then that diversity in education won't be achieved without affirmative action, and just to ways to educate yourself and how to educate others. One of the biggest downfalls, or why people aren't seeing it as something that's important anymore, is because they see it as unconstitutional or unfair to give someone who doesn't have that aren't discriminated against anymore an advantage when considering race and admissions or things like that. One article that I read by the Associated Press, which titled "Does Affirmative Action Punish Whites?" stated that instead of leveling the playing field, it only punished whites, and while I can see where the author is coming from, you also have to think about how poverty and race goes hand in hand, sadly, and then you have to think then about how lower income communities and their school districts and how much money their school districts get in exchange. Also, they said that it would be unconstitutional, and this happened in an article called Race Matters by Kiara Bridges, an associate professor in both law and anthropology, stated that this, a good example of this is the Hopwood versus Texas case in 1992. And in the end, 4 white students, were not accepted into the college of their choice because of affirmative action, and other minority students got accepted instead. They fought it, and the judge ended up siding with affirmative action because, as the judge stated, that it's still necessary in the United States to stop institutionalized racism. While everybody would like us to be colorblind, or that colorblind, we're all the same and we're all equal, I think the beauty of diversity is that we're all different and that you can learn from each other's differences. And another topic is diversity and education matter, and without them together, not everybody will receive as good of an education as they could. For instance, 40% of low-income schools don't get their fair share of state and government funding. This was shown in an article written in 2011 by the Department of Education. In turn, that means that schools that need the funding to give programs and push students that aren't in as high-income homes aren't getting it, and schools that do get the income are schools where homes have higher incomes and are already getting the things that they need. And in reality, people are students in low-income homes are going to need a bigger push than anyone else. And then not only does diversity affect in a classroom, it wouldn't just affect the minorities coming into either a college classroom or a high school classroom, it would affect every student in the class. Studies have shown that not only does it make us smarter, but it'll improve cognitive skills because of different cultural backgrounds, different ideas, and traditions. After affirmative action programs were outlawed in Texas in 1995, the Latino student body was cut in half. That was shown in a report done in 2011 by the University of Michigan. To sum up what I've said already, affirmative action has helped to diversify campuses across the United States and still does to this day. And the diversity in a classroom not only benefits the people moving into the class, but everybody else in the class as a whole. And it's still a necessity in the United States, whether we like to admit it or not, because of poverty and because of low incomes and things like that. Two things that you can do to help fix this problem is not only to continue to educate yourself, because I think it's an issue that people don't think about anymore. You don't see it as much, and if, like I said, you're not surrounded by diversity or you don't take the time to think about it yourself, you don't notice it. And then also to educate others. So to take the time out of your day to spark the conversation with someone else, despite how uncomfortable the conversation may be, would be very important, very useful. Without these conversations, things like affirmative action can be like shut down or seen as unjust, and then my education wouldn't be the same. I would be more than happy to give up my spot on my dream college to a minority who would benefit their classrooms and their lives and their futures better than it would mine. I'd like to end with a quote by an unknown author that is, "The beauty of the world lies in the diversity of the world." So that's all.
I just want to, when I do, please don't.